Hi dear, welcome to your favorite audiobook channel Wisdom Flicks. Introduction: The Tragedy of Untapped Greatness. There's a quiet tragedy playing out all around us, maybe even inside us. It's not the tragedy of failure or rejection. It's something more invisible, more insidious. It's the tragedy of untapped greatness. All around the world, people are waking up, going to work, taking care of responsibilities, and living lives far smaller than what they're truly capable of, not because they lack talent, not because they lack intelligence, not because they don't care, but because they can't see their own potential, and what you can't see, you can't grow. The hidden giant inside you, you are not broken, you are not mediocre, and you are definitely not incapable, but you may be blind to your own brilliance. Here's the truth. Most people live and die without ever discovering who they truly are or what they could have become. They follow a script they never wrote, play a role they never chose, and carry limitations they never questioned. And yet, somewhere deep inside, they feel it. A faint whisper, a quiet pulse of something more, a craving for purpose, a hunger to expand. But that whisper gets drowned in the noise of doubt, fear, routine, and social conditioning. This book is about turning up that whisper into a roar. Why are we blind? How does this happen? Why do so many incredibly capable, kind, smart human beings settle for lives that are smaller than what they were born for? It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's not fate. It's blindness. We are taught how to fit, in how to follow rules, how to be good enough, but rarely how to see our unique power. From an early age, we are shaped by voices, parents, teachers, media, culture. We absorb these messages like sponges, messages that tell us who we are, what we should be, and what is or isn't possible for someone like us. Most of us internalize these voices and confuse them with truth. We adopt limitations like identities, believing them so deeply that they become invisible. We don't question them, not because we're incapable, but because we think they're facts, but they're not. This book will help you see. This book is your guide out of that fog. It is designed to help you understand why you may be blind to your own power. Discover the hidden programming that holds you back. Break the illusions of limitation and fear. Reignite the light of possibility within you. And most of all, take practical steps to unleash your true self. Whether you're someone who's always felt like they were meant for more or someone who's just now starting to question the path you've been walking, this book will meet you where you are and take you where you've always been capable of going. A story you may recognize. Let me tell you a short story. It's fictional, but you'll likely feel how real it is. Imagine a young boy named Alex. Alex loved to draw. He could spend hours sketching, creating imaginary worlds on paper. But one day, a teacher told him art wasn't a real career. His parents encouraged him to focus on math instead. Be practical, they said. Art won't pay the bills. So Alex buried his sketchbook in a drawer. He studied hard, went to college, got a good job. But every now and then, when he was alone, that old feeling would come back. The itch to create, the spark. But he'd tell himself, it's too late. That was just a hobby. Years passed, life got busy. He forgot what that spark even felt like. Now here's the question. Was Alex ever lacking in potential? Of course not. But he was blind to it, and the longer he stayed blind, the harder it became to believe the light was ever there at all. You are Alex, and you are more. This book isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally becoming yourself. The version of you that's been buried under years of noise, doubt, and fear. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are right on time to remember who you are. The purpose of this book is not to give you something new. It's to remove what's not truly yours. The limits, the lies, the false labels. Once those are peeled away, what remains is your pure potential, ready to rise, ready to roar, ready to shine. A personal invitation. So I invite you, not just to read or listen, but to reflect, to be open, to challenge the things you've always assumed about yourself, to be bold enough to ask, what if I've been wrong about my limits? Because once you start to see what you've always had, you will never again settle for less than who you were meant to be. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Limits. Imagine a baby elephant. From the moment it's born, a small rope is tied around its ankle and secured to a stake in the ground. At first, the elephant pulls, tugs, and struggles to break free, but the rope holds firm. No matter how hard it tries, it cannot escape. Eventually, it gives up. As the elephant grows, stronger, heavier, and more powerful, the same thin rope remains. But something has changed. Not the rope, the belief. The elephant no longer tries to escape because it believes it can't. Now here's the punchline. Even though the elephant could easily rip the rope out of the ground, it doesn't. Why? Because it's trapped by a limit that no longer exists. That elephant is us. Most of us are living with invisible ropes around our ankles. They were tied to us in childhood by voices, experiences, fears, and false beliefs. And over time, we stopped questioning them. We accepted limitations not because they were true, but because they were repeated. We were told what we could or couldn't do, what kind of person we were, what was realistic, what was too much. And slowly, bit by bit, we began to shrink ourselves to fit into the expectations of others. The worst part? We didn't even notice it happening. The cage of normal. From a young age, society teaches us to aim for normal. Be normal. Act normal. Think normal. Stay in line. But normal is often just another word for average, and average is often another word for settling. What if Einstein had tried to be normal? What if Oprah had stayed quiet because she didn't fit the mold? What if Steve Jobs had said, "Let me just get a regular job and not cause waves"? Every great innovator, artist, leader, and trailblazer had to break the illusion of what's normal and walk into the unknown of what's possible. You are no different. How early beliefs build invisible walls. Your mind is like a garden. In your early years, seeds are planted by others, parents, teachers, media, culture. These seeds grow into beliefs, and those beliefs shape your actions, choices, and future. Some of these beliefs are empowering. You're creative. You're a natural leader. You can figure things out. But many of them are limiting. You're bad at math. You're not athletic. People like you don't succeed. The human brain forms about 90% of its core identity and behavioral patterns by age 7. So imagine how many false walls were built inside your mind before you even knew they were there. Here's the scary part. You don't question what you've always believed. That's how the illusion of limits is maintained. You live in a box, but you never ask who built it. The brain is wired for safety, not growth. There's a biological reason we stay stuck. Your brain's primary job isn't to make you successful. It's to keep you alive. And to the brain, the unknown equals danger. So every time you try to step outside your comfort zone, apply for that job, start that project, share your ideas, your brain floods you with doubt, fear, hesitation. It's not because you can't do it. It's because your brain is trying to protect you. But here's the truth. Growth never feels safe. It feels uncomfortable. It feels scary. It feels uncertain. But that's not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're finally leaving the cage. The real prison is mental. Most people think limitations are physical. They're not. Most limitations are mental and often completely imaginary. Here are a few examples of mental cages. I'm too old to start over. I don't have the right education. People like me don't get opportunities like that. If I fail, people will laugh at me. I'm just not talented enough. Now pause for a second. Where did those thoughts come from? Who told you that? What proof do you have that they're true? Most of the time, these thoughts are not based on facts. They're based on feelings, fear, or one bad experience in the past. And yet we build our entire lives around them. Your potential is not gone. It's just hidden. If you've ever said, "I feel like I'm meant for more. I know I have something inside me, but I can't access it. I've lost confidence in myself," then guess what? You're not broken. You're just seeing through foggy glass. Your potential is still there. It's just been buried under years of noise, self-doubt, and false beliefs. And the moment you start removing those layers, the moment you question those limits, that's when the illusion begins to crack. Moment of truth. Let's pause and ask something bold. What have you told yourself you can't do? Is it starting a business? Writing a book? Changing careers? Speaking publicly? Healing old wounds? Building self-confidence? Now ask, is that a fact or a belief? Because beliefs can change. And when your beliefs change, your whole world changes with them. Break the rope. Step into power. Remember the elephant? It didn't need to grow stronger. It was already strong. It just needed to realize that the rope was a lie. And you? You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to see the illusion for what it is, and then take one step beyond it. That's how you break the rope. That's how you reclaim your power. That's how you start waking up your potential. Chapter 2. The enemy within. Self-doubt. If there's one voice that whispers in nearly every person's ear at some point in their life, it's this one. You're not good enough. It doesn't scream. It doesn't argue. It just plants seeds quietly, consistently, and subtly. Self-doubt is the invisible enemy within. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you feel it. And worse, it feels like the truth. The inner critic that never sleeps. Inside all of us is an inner voice, an inner critic that seems to always find a reason why we can't, shouldn't, or won't succeed. You might recognize its language. You'll embarrass yourself. What if you fail? They'll laugh at you. You're not as talented as they are. You're going to mess this up. At first, this voice might seem protective. It claims to keep you safe, to keep you humble, to help you avoid disappointment. But in reality, it's doing something far more dangerous. It's silencing your potential before it even has a chance to breathe. Where self-doubt comes from, you weren't born with self-doubt. Think about that. A baby doesn't question whether it's worthy of love. A toddler doesn't hesitate to dance, to sing, to stumble, to try. Self-doubt is learned. It's absorbed from critical parents or teachers, humiliating experiences, social rejection, comparison with others, unrealistic societal standards. It enters your mind when you hear phrases like, "You're too much," "You're not trying hard enough," "You'll never make it doing that," "Why can't you be more like them?" Over time, these words don't just stay on the outside. They move inward and become your inner voice. The brain's need. For certainty, self-doubt also has a biological component. Your brain is wired to seek certainty. It craves predictability and control. But when you step toward a goal or dream, you enter the unknown, a place filled with uncertainty. The brain responds to this by triggering self-doubt, not because you're incapable, but because you're breaking the pattern. To your brain, even failure is more acceptable than risk. That's why when you try something new or aim higher, that whisper of doubt shows up. Better stay where it's safe. Don't try, you'll only fail. They'll see you're not good enough. It's not truth. It's a protection mechanism on overdrive. How self-doubt sabotages success. Self-doubt doesn't just stop you, it steals from you. It steals your creativity, your ambition, your joy. It causes hesitation when you should act. It makes you overthink decisions, second-guess compliments, and play small in big moments. Here's what self-doubt really does. It makes you procrastinate on dreams. It turns opportunities into fears. It pushes you to compare instead of create. It convinces you that perfection is required, so you never even start. Think about how many things you've not done simply because of one thought. What if I fail? Now ask, what if you succeed? The difference between doubt and humility. Now let's clear up a common myth. Self-doubt is not humility. True humility is recognizing that you have more to learn. Self-doubt is believing you're not worthy of learning it at all. You can be humble and confident. In fact, the most powerful people are both. Confidence says, I may not know everything, but I trust I can figure it out. Self-doubt says, I probably won't figure it out, so why even try? See the difference? One leads to growth, the other leads to paralysis. Recognizing the voice of doubt. The first step to defeating self-doubt is recognition. That voice in your head, it's not you. It's a pattern, a recording, a protective script written by fear, not fact. Start noticing when it speaks, before you speak up in a meeting, when you compare your life to someone on social media, when you hesitate to apply for a new role, when you start talking yourself out of a dream. Name it, label it. Say to yourself, that's just the voice of doubt. It's not the truth. And just like that, you take away its power. Build a new voice. The inner coach. If you can have an inner critic, you can also build an inner coach. This is the voice that encourages, motivates, and reminds you of your strength, even when things are hard. It says, you've made it through worse. You're growing, not failing. You're more capable than you feel. This is how you learn. Keep going. You're closer than you think. Creating this voice takes practice, but every time you choose the inner coach over the inner critic, you rewire your brain for belief instead of fear. You shift from self-doubt to self-trust. Self-doubt never fully goes away, and that's okay. Even the most successful people doubt themselves. The difference? They've learned not to listen. Self-doubt might still whisper, but it no longer decides. They feel the fear, hear the voice, and move forward anyway. That's courage. And that's available to you right now. Practical tools to overcome self-doubt. Here are 3 strategies you can use today to push through self-doubt. The evidence list. Write down 10 moments in your life when you succeeded, overcame something difficult, or surprised yourself. Revisit this list often. It reminds you that you are more powerful than your fear. Talk back to doubt. When the inner critic says, you're not smart enough, respond with, I'm learning every day, and I've already come farther than I thought I would. Interrupt the pattern. Don't let it go unchallenged. Take tiny, brave steps. Action weakens doubt. Don't wait to feel ready. Act in small ways. 1 email, 1 post, 1 conversation. Small steps build confidence, and confidence silences doubt. Final thoughts. You are not the doubt. Self-doubt is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing. It means you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, exactly where transformation happens. So the next time you hear that voice of fear whispering, remember this. That's not your truth. That's just your old programming. You are more than that voice, and you are ready to rise above it, because your potential is waiting on the other side of doubt. Chapter 3. The power of programming. You wake up, check your phone, brush your teeth, maybe make coffee the same way you always do. You think similar thoughts, feel familiar emotions, and take predictable actions. But what if I told you that most of what you think, feel, and do every day is not really your choice? It's programming, and it's powerful. This chapter is about understanding the invisible code that runs your life, and how to rewrite it so you can unlock the full potential hiding inside you. What is mental programming? Just like a computer runs on lines of code, you run on beliefs, thoughts, habits, and experiences that were installed in you, many without your permission. Mental programming is the subconscious conditioning that shapes how you see yourself, what you believe is possible, how you react under pressure, what kind of life you think you deserve. It's not always logical, it's not always true, but it's very real, and it quietly runs the show. Where your programming comes from. Let's break it down. Your mental programming is built from childhood environment. Were you told you were smart and capable? Or were you constantly criticized, encouraged to take risks, or warned to play it safe? Cultural and societal norms. What messages did the world around you give about success, failure, love, gender, money, race? School and education. Did school reward curiosity or memorization? Did it teach you how to think or what to think? Life experiences. A single painful event, like being humiliated in public or failing in front of others, can write a powerful script. I should never try that again. Media and technology. The movies you watch, the influencers you follow, the ads you scroll past, these all shape your beliefs, silently and steadily. Over time, these inputs combine to create a mental operating system. And here's the thing. Most people never question it. They live by default, not by design. Programming defines potential. Let's say two people grow up with different scripts. Person A was told, "You can do anything if you work hard." Person B was told, "People, like us, don't succeed." Who do you think is more likely to take risks, to grow, to dream big? It's not about intelligence or talent. It's about programming. Your beliefs act like a ceiling. If you're programmed to believe you're limited no matter how much potential you have, you'll operate beneath your abilities. And worse, you'll defend those limits thinking they're reality. How programming becomes self-fulfilling. The scary part, your mental programming becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you're bad at public speaking, you avoid speaking opportunities so you never improve. Therefore, your belief stays true. If you believe you're not attractive or confident, you carry yourself that way, which influences how others respond to you and confirms your fear. You see what you believe. And then you believe what you see. It's a feedback loop. And if you don't interrupt it, you'll live trapped in a version of life far below what you're capable of. The brain doesn't care about truth, only familiarity, one of the most fascinating things about the brain is that it doesn't care if something is good or true. It only cares if it's familiar. So even if a belief is damaging, like, "I'll always be broke," "I can't trust anyone," "I'll never be good enough," the brain will cling to it because it's what it knows. This is why breaking old patterns feels uncomfortable, even painful. You're not just changing thoughts, you're challenging your identity. But that's also where power lives. Reprogramming the mind. Here's the good news. Programming can be rewritten. You are not a slave to your past. You are not locked into your old patterns. And you are certainly not defined by the thoughts you inherited. Here's how to begin conscious reprogramming. Step 1. Identify the old script. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about success, love, money, failure? Where did these beliefs come from? Do they serve me or sabotage me? Awareness is everything. You can't change a story you're not aware you're telling. Step 2. Interrupt the pattern. The moment you hear a thought like, "I'm not good enough," pause and question it. Say out loud, "Who told me that?" Or, "Is that really true?" This disrupts the automatic script and makes room for a new one. Step 3. Install new beliefs. Think of this as writing a new operating system. Try affirmations like, "I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to." "I am allowed to change, grow and succeed." "I deserve a life that reflects my effort and values." Repeat them with emotion and consistency. The brain responds to repetition, and eventually, new beliefs become the new normal. Step 4. Take aligned. Action programming is reinforced by behavior. Don't just tell yourself you're confident, act confident. Don't just believe you can grow. Put yourself in situations where growth is required. Each action you take in alignment with your new belief system rewires your identity. Step 5. Curate your environment. Your environment is a huge part of your programming. Surround yourself with people who uplift and challenge you. Books that expand your thinking, podcasts, videos and voices that speak to your highest self. Stop letting toxic media, negative people and limiting ideas Write your internal code. You get to choose what shapes your mind from this point forward. You are the programmer. Now here's the truth. Most people never realize you can be the user of your programming, or you can be the author. Most live their entire lives on autopilot, running outdated code, wondering why they're stuck. But not you. You are now aware. You've taken the first step toward reprogramming your inner world, and when your internal world changes, your external reality must follow. Final thoughts. Don't just upgrade, transform. You don't need to make small upgrades. You can completely transform the system. Let go of the old voice that told you who you couldn't be. Reject the scripts that never belonged to you. Stop running outdated code and write your own future. The power of programming is this. You were conditioned into limitation, but you can recondition yourself into limitless potential. It won't happen overnight. But every thought, every choice, and every brave step forward is rewriting the code. And the new version of you, the real you, it's coming online. Chapter 4. Fear in disguise. Fear is a master of disguise. It doesn't always scream and shout. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up wearing masks like procrastination, perfectionism, overthinking, busyness, or even logic. It convinces us that we're being practical, careful, or not ready yet. But beneath all those clever excuses is fear. And here's the truth. Fear is the silent force keeping most people blind to their own potential. In this chapter, we'll strip away its disguises, expose its tricks, and teach you how to confront fear, not as your enemy, but as your greatest opportunity for growth. What fear really is at its core, fear is not evil. It's biological. Our brains are wired for survival, not success. They're designed to keep us safe, not fulfilled. Fear was useful when we lived in jungles. It kept us from danger, like snakes, cliffs, or fire. But today, fear often protects us from things that aren't even threats, like speaking in public, applying for a better job, sharing our art, saying how we feel, starting a business. Our modern brain responds to these with the same fear response it used to reserve for predators. Fear isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you, but it often protects you from the very things that could set you free. Fear disguised as perfectionism. Perfectionism sounds noble. I just want to get it right. But more often than not, it's fear wearing a fancy suit. When you say, it's not ready yet. I need to do more research. It's not perfect. What you often mean is, I'm afraid it will fail. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid it won't be good enough. Perfectionism is not about excellence, it's about control and a deep fear of rejection. Let go of perfect. Choose progress instead. Start messy, learn fast, grow strong. Fear disguised as procrastination. Have you ever delayed something important? Not because you were lazy, but because it made you uncomfortable? That's not procrastination. That's fear. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll wait for the right time. But the right time rarely arrives. Procrastination is a fear of discomfort, failure, or inadequacy, hiding behind the illusion of waiting. The solution? Take one small action, even while afraid. Fear fades when confronted with motion. Fear, disguised as logic, this is the sneakiest disguise. Sometimes fear puts on a suit and pretends to be rational thinking. It sounds like, now isn't the smart time to try something new. People like me don't do that. What? If it doesn't work out? It pretends to be mature, responsible, even wise. But the truth is, logic that limits you is fear pretending to protect you. There's a difference between true wisdom and fear in disguise. Wisdom expands possibilities. Fear limits them. Ask yourself, is this thought empowering or just keeping me small? Fear disguised as overthinking. Overthinking is the mind's way of trying to stay safe. But instead of taking action, we get stuck in analysis paralysis. What if it fails? What if I'm not good enough? What if people laugh at me? We convince ourselves that thinking more will give us control. But in reality, overthinking delays growth and breeds anxiety. The truth? You'll never have 100% certainty. You must learn to move with courage, not clarity. Fear disguised as I'm just not that type. Many people stay stuck because they've unknowingly labeled themselves. I'm not a creative person. I'm not a leader. I'm just shy. I'm not built for success. These aren't identities. They're fear-based beliefs repeated until they became truth. But here's what's real. You are not fixed. You are a work in progress. You can evolve, grow, and adapt. The identity you're wearing today was likely chosen out of fear, not truth. Why fear keeps us stuck? Fear feeds on three main lies. You're not ready, but readiness is a myth. You become ready by doing the thing you're afraid of. You'll fail and be judged. Everyone fails, everyone gets judged. And those who don't try get neither, but also never grow. Staying safe means staying happy. But safety is not fulfillment. Growth happens outside your comfort zone, and so does your future. From fearful to fearless. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to act while afraid. Here's how to start shifting fear from a wall to a doorway. Name it, bring fear out of the shadows. Ask, what am I really afraid of here? Is this a real threat or an imagined one? What's the worst case scenario? And can I handle it? Naming fear weakens its grip. Reframe. Fear doesn't mean stop. It means you're doing something important. Start telling yourself, this fear means I'm growing. Fear is a sign I'm alive and expanding. If it scares me, it probably matters. Let fear be your compass, not your cage. Take micro-brave actions. You don't need to leap. You just need to step. Speak up in a small meeting. Publish the post. Start the conversation. Make the call. Tiny acts of bravery build momentum. Each one sends a signal to your brain. I can do hard things. Visualize the reward instead of focusing on what could go wrong. Focus on what could go right. What will your life look like if you do the thing? What freedom will you gain? Who will you become? Make the reward louder than the fear. Embrace the unknown. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it's also magical. Think about every breakthrough in your life. Didn't most of them come from stepping into the unknown? The life you want is not in your current comfort zone. It's out there, in the uncertainty you've been avoiding. The real meaning of courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the choice to act despite it. People who do great things aren't fearless, they're just willing to walk forward, even when their knees shake. So when fear shows up, don't run, don't shrink. Listen, learn, then lead. Let fear be your teacher, not your master. Final thoughts. Feel the fear and grow. Anyway, fear will always exist. It's part of the human experience. But it doesn't have to rule your life. When you learn to see fear for what it really is, a signal, not a stop sign, you become limitless. So the next time fear comes knocking, don't hide. Open the door, smile, and say, thank you for reminding me this matters, because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. Chapter 5. The school system didn't teach you this. Let's get real for a moment. You spent years, maybe even decades, sitting in classrooms. You learned math, history, grammar, and maybe how to label the parts of a plant. But did anyone ever teach you how to unlock your own potential? Did you ever have a class called How to Believe in Yourself? How to manage fear and build courage? How to think independently? How to discover your purpose? No, that's not your fault, it's the system. In this chapter, we'll talk about what the school system never taught you about your mind, your identity, and your power. Because to see your own potential clearly, you have to first unlearn the blindfold school may have wrapped around your thinking. designed to create workers, not dreamers. Let's go back to where the system began. The modern school system was designed during the Industrial Revolution. Factories needed disciplined, obedient workers, people who could follow rules, meet deadlines, and stay in line. So schools were built like factories. Rows of desks, bells to signal breaks, standardized tests, one-size-fits-all answers. It wasn't about creativity. It wasn't about innovation, it was about compliance. This worked great for producing factory workers, but not for building visionary thinkers or world changers. The problem? The world has changed, but the system hasn't. Standardization dulls brilliance in school. We were taught that there's one right answer and everything else is wrong. But life? Life isn't a multiple choice test. Life is messy, unpredictable, creative. Some of the greatest minds in history didn't fit the system. Albert Einstein was labeled slow. Thomas Edison was told he was too dumb to learn. Oprah Winfrey was fired early in her career for being unfit for television. You see, the system isn't built to detect genius that doesn't fit the mold. It teaches us to fear mistakes, to avoid risk, to play safe. But those very things, risk, failure, curiosity, are the building blocks of potential. Grades don't measure potential. How many of us still define ourselves by old grades? I was never good at math. I always failed English. I was just an average student. But let me tell you a secret. Grades measure conformity, not creativity. Memory, not mastery. You are more than a report card. Your intelligence isn't limited to how fast you can memorize facts or how well you follow instructions. There are people who got straight A's in school, but are lost in life. And there are people who barely passed, but became legends. Because life tests different things. Grit, curiosity, emotional intelligence, adaptability, courage. These are not found on a syllabus, but they are the foundation of your true potential. The forgotten skills, emotional and social intelligence. In school, you learned about the solar system. But did you learn about your inner system? Your thoughts, emotions, self-worth? Did anyone teach you how to handle anxiety, how to bounce back after rejection, how to build confidence or resolve conflict? Probably not. We learned how to find X, but not how to find ourselves. That's a massive gap, because in the real world, success isn't just about knowing information. It's about knowing yourself and knowing how to connect with others. The old danger of comparison school placed everyone on the same ladder. If you climbed fast, you were smart. If you climbed slow, you were behind. But no one stopped to ask, what if we're all meant to climb different mountains? One child excels in art, another in science, another in music or leadership or empathy. But the system teaches only certain talents matter. That's where people begin to go blind to their potential. They think, I'm not good enough, when really they were just measured by the wrong ruler. You were taught what to think, not how to think, one of the greatest failures of the system. It teaches answers, not thinking. Memorize this. Regurgitate that. Don't ask why. Just study for the test. But in the real world, the people who rise to the top are the ones who ask questions, think critically, challenge assumptions, see patterns, solve problems creatively. You weren't born to just consume knowledge. You were born to create it, to think freely, to ask deeply, to choose differently. That's where potential lives. The hidden curriculum, obedience over originality. Without ever saying it aloud, school teaches a hidden message. Do as you're told. Don't rock the boat. Speak out too much? Labeled disruptive. Question the lesson, seen as difficult? Want to do it your own way? Marked down. This teaches children to trade their authenticity for approval. But when you grow up with this message, it becomes a mental program. Don't stand out. Stay small. Wait for permission. And that mindset? It kills potential. Because every great breakthrough, every innovation, every movement came from someone who broke the rules, challenged the norm, and dared to be different. So, what now? Rewrite the script now that you see what the system didn't teach you. The real journey begins. Here's what you can teach yourself starting today. Go, learn to learn again, fall back in love with learning. Not grades, not gold stars, learning for growth. Read books that open your mind. Watch content that challenges you. Try things that scare you. The classroom is gone. The world is now your school. Redefine intelligence. You are smart. But your intelligence might not be the traditional kind, and that's okay. Maybe you're emotionally intelligent. Maybe you're street smart, creative, intuitive, or visionary. There are many types of brilliance. Find yours. Own it. Fear. Think for yourself. Stop waiting for someone to give you the right answer. Start asking deeper questions. Why do I believe this? Who told me this? What do I really want? Independent thinking is a superpower in a world full of noise. Unlearn the fear of mistakes. Mistakes aren't failures. They're feedback. They teach you what works, what doesn't, and how to grow stronger. You don't need to be right. You need to be willing to try. Give yourself permission. Permission to dream big. Permission to change paths. Permission to take up space. Permission to shine. You don't need a teacher, a boss, or a system to approve you. Approve yourself. Final thoughts. You were meant for more. The school system didn't teach you how powerful you are. It didn't show you the map to your mind. It didn't unlock your heart. It didn't celebrate your unique genius, but that's okay because now you know. And now that you know, the responsibility and the freedom is in your hands. You get to rewrite the rules, reawaken your brilliance, and reclaim your potential. You don't need another diploma. You need belief, bravery, and a willingness to begin again. Chapter 6. Society's labels. Are lies? Who are you? It's a simple question, but the answer isn't. Because from the moment you were born, the world has been trying to tell you who you are. Society hands out labels like name tags at a conference. Smart, lazy, introvert, difficult, weird, perfect, average, too much, or not enough. You didn't ask for these labels. Most of them were glued onto you before you even knew how to speak. And slowly you began to wear them like they were part of your skin. But here's the truth. Society's labels are lies. They're not reflections of your truth. They're mirrors distorted by judgment, fear, and misunderstanding. In this chapter, we will rip off those false tags one by one. Because if you're going to discover your real potential, you must first remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Where labels come from. Labels come from all directions: family, school culture, media, even strangers. And they usually sound like definitions, but they're actually limitations. A teacher tells you, you're not good at science. A parent says, you're too sensitive. A coach mutters, you'll never be a leader. Social media tells you what beauty or success should look like. Over time, these comments pile up and form a story. And even if the story is false, if you hear it enough, you start to believe it. But just because something is repeated doesn't make it true. The problem with labels are shortcuts. They simplify complex people into bite-sized boxes. But you are not a box. You are a universe. Here's why labels are dangerous. Labels create limits. Once you're labeled bad at math or too shy, you're less likely to try. Why bother if the label says you'll fail? This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Labels stick. Even when you outgrow them, you might have been a distracted kid, but that doesn't mean you're not a focused adult. People change, but labels don't want you to. They freeze your identity in time. Labels affect your decisions. If you think you're not the leadership type, you won't step up. If you think you're not creative, you won't explore. Labels shape your self-image, and your self-image shapes your future. The lie of normal. One of the most toxic labels society loves is the word normal. Normal is used like a weapon. Why can't you be normal? That's not how normal people think. You don't fit in. But here's the secret. Normal doesn't exist. It's just a social script, a mold. And guess what? The mold is often built for comfort, not greatness. Some of the most successful, inspiring, world-changing people weren't normal. They were different. They were misunderstood. They were doubted. Being different isn't a flaw. It's often your greatest strength. The labels you didn't choose. Some labels are especially harmful because they come with judgment. Broken, unlovable, failure, troublemaker, not enough. These are the kinds of labels that sneak into your subconscious and whisper in your quietest moments. They make you second-guess your dreams, sabotage your relationships, and dim your light. But listen closely. None of these labels define you. Your worth is not up for debate. You are not a project to fix. You're a person to free. Reclaiming your truth. So how do you break free from the labels that hold you back? Let's start here. Notice the labels you carry. Take a moment. What are some of the labels you've been given throughout your life? What did people say about you as a child? What comments stuck with you in school or at work? What stereotypes do you feel trapped by? Write them down. Not to believe them, but to expose them. Awareness is the first step toward release. Ask, is this true or just familiar? Many of the labels you carry aren't true. They're just old. They've been around so long you've mistaken them for reality. But just because a thought is familiar doesn't mean it's right. Question it. Am I really bad at public speaking? Or have I just never practiced in a safe space? Am I truly uncreative? Or have I just never been encouraged? Am I too emotional, or am I actually emotionally intelligent? Peel back the label. Challenge the lie. Replace lies with language that empowers. Start speaking a new truth over your life. Replace. I'm not good enough. I'm growing stronger every day. I'm not a leader. I'm learning to guide with courage. I'm not smart. I think differently, and that's powerful. Words matter. What you say about yourself becomes what you believe about yourself. Choose language that frees you, not frames you. Surround yourself with people who see the real you. Some people love the version of you that stays small. They feel safer when you're labeled predictable, controllable. But true allies, they see past the labels. They remind you of your light, especially when you forget. Surround yourself with people who don't define you by your past, but by your potential. You are not your label. You are not your job title. You are not your GPA. You are not your diagnosis. You are not your bank balance. You are not what someone called you in a moment of ignorance or cruelty. You are limitless possibility in human form. The world may try to define you, but only you can decide who you become. Final thought. Rip off the name tags. It's time to walk through life without a name tag. You don't need to be labeled to be understood. You don't need to be boxed to be accepted. You don't need to be reduced to be loved. The labels are lies. The truth is deeper. And your potential? It lives far beyond those sticky little words. Chapter 7. How to see your hidden potential. Let's imagine something for a moment. Imagine that buried deep within you is a treasure chest, locked, hidden, and forgotten. It holds your greatest strengths, passions, gifts, and possibilities. That chest is your hidden potential. But here's the twist. Most people never even realize it exists. Why? Because they've been looking everywhere, except inside. In this chapter, we're going to do something powerful. We're going to uncover what's been buried, dust off what's been ignored, and learn how to truly see your potential, even the parts you've doubted or dismissed. Because the life you dream of isn't out of reach. It's already within you. You just have to learn how to see it. Understand what potential really means. Many people mistake potential for something external. They think it's about talent, intelligence, money, or opportunity. But your true potential is internal. It's the raw energy inside you, the ability to grow, to learn, to stretch beyond what you think is possible. It's not about where you are now. It's about what's possible when your effort meets belief. Potential is not about perfection. It's about possibility. You may not feel extraordinary today. That's okay. Potential doesn't shout, it whispers. Let's learn how to listen. Start by noticing what lights you. Up your potential isn't found by chasing what others say is valuable. It's found by noticing what feels alive inside you. Ask yourself, what topics do I lose track of time thinking about? When do I feel most energized or in flow? What kinds of challenges excite me instead of drain me? When do I feel most me? These are signs, clues, flashes of the treasure underneath. What you're drawn to is not random. It's deeply connected to your potential. Look at your patterns of persistence. Another way to spot your hidden strengths is to look at where you've kept going, even when it was hard. Maybe you've continued drawing or writing in secret even though no one encouraged you. Learned skills on your own without being told to. Helped others again and again, even when you were struggling yourself. These moments reveal more than talent. They reveal passion, grit, compassion, and character. Potential often hides in persistence. The question isn't, what am I good at? It's, what won't I give up on? Break free from the need for validation. Sometimes you can't see your potential because you're waiting for someone else to point it out. A teacher, a boss, a parent, a stranger on social media. But here's the truth. You don't need permission to be powerful. Many geniuses go unnoticed for years because their brilliance didn't fit society's mold. So stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for someone to say, you're good enough. Decide you are. Confidence isn't the result of success. Often, it's the cause of it. Shift from I can't to I'm learning. One of the fastest ways to uncover potential is to change your internal language. Instead of saying, I'm bad at this, try, I'm still learning this. I'm not creative, try, I haven't explored my creativity yet. I'll never succeed, try, I'm learning what works for me. This tiny shift does something huge. It opens the door for growth. Hidden potential stays hidden behind the walls of negative self-talk. Tear down those walls. Let your inner voice become your inner coach, not your inner critic. Revisit the things you once loved. Sometimes your potential is connected to the things you used to love before life got in the way. Ask yourself, what did I love doing as a child? What dreams did I give up because someone said they were unrealistic? What part of me have I silenced in order to fit in? Your childhood curiosities weren't random. They were windows into your inner world. Go back, revisit them. Let them speak to you again. Sometimes we find our future in the echoes of our past. Let curiosity lead the way. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to follow your curiosity. Try new things. Experiment. Explore without pressure. Maybe you try coding, painting, speaking, leading, helping, building, or teaching. Maybe you love it, maybe you don't. That's okay. Curiosity is the compass. It will lead you home. Your potential isn't found in standing still. It's found in motion. Watch out for comparison blindness. One of the biggest blockers of recognizing your own potential is comparison. You scroll through social media and see people succeeding in what looks like minutes. You compare your beginning to someone else's highlight reel. And slowly the thought creeps in, they're amazing. I'm just me. But here's what you're missing. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their front stage performance. You don't see their struggles, their doubts, their years of quiet work. You don't need to be them. You need to become the fullest version of you. Your potential is not less. It's just different. And different is powerful. Ask better questions. When you feel stuck or unsure of what you're capable of, don't just ask, what's wrong with me? Ask better questions. What have I overcome that others couldn't see? Where have I grown the most in the past year? What would I try if I wasn't afraid of failing? Who do I admire, and what does that say about me? Great. Questions unlock hidden doors. Sometimes the answers you're looking for are already inside. You just need to ask the right way. Ken. Act before you feel ready. Most people wait until they feel confident before they act. But what if the confidence only comes after you act? You don't discover your strength by thinking about it. You discover it by doing. You find your voice by speaking. You find your courage by leaping. You find your gift by giving it, over and over again. Start now. Start small, but start. You don't need to be fully formed to be powerful. You just need to begin. You are a work in progress and a masterpiece at once. The world told you that your potential lives somewhere far away, but it lives right here, right now, in you. It's in the questions you ask, the things you love, the pain you've survived, the curiosity that refuses to quit. You may not see all of it yet, but it's there, like a seed under the soil, quiet, but growing. And one day, it will break through. Your job? Keep watering it with belief, with action, and with love. Because your potential isn't something you chase. It's something you awaken. And you just did. Chapter 8. Belief engineering. Imagine your mind as a construction site. Every thought, every word, every experience is a brick. And together, these bricks build the mental architecture that shapes your life. This architecture is called your belief system. It defines what you think is possible, what you think you deserve, and what you believe you can become. But here's the problem. Most people live in buildings they didn't design. They inherited limiting beliefs from family, school, media, and society, brick by brick, without ever questioning if those beliefs were even true. In this chapter, we're going to take back the blueprint. We'll tear down the walls of doubt and rebuild something stronger, something truer. This is belief engineering, the art of consciously shaping the thoughts that shape you. Let's begin. Your beliefs are not facts, one of the most freeing realizations. In life is this: not everything you believe is true. Many beliefs you hold today were formed when you were a child, in moments of confusion, pain, or fear. For example, I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. People like me don't succeed. If I try, I'll fail and be embarrassed. These are not truths. They are stories. And stories can be rewritten. Think about it this way. Your beliefs are like the software of your brain, and you have the power to upgrade it. Where do limiting beliefs come from? To rebuild, we must first understand what we're working with. Limiting. Beliefs usually come from childhood experiences, a critical parent, a humiliating school moment, or being compared to others. Cultural conditioning. Messages like stay in your lane, people like us don't dream big, or success is for the lucky. Failures or mistakes. We fall once and decide we're bad at it forever. Trauma or fear. We protect ourselves from pain by shrinking our possibilities. These moments plant seeds of doubt. And over time, if watered by repetition, they grow into rigid beliefs, but they don't have to stay. The core equation: belief, behavior, result. Here's the chain reaction. What you believe shapes what you do, which creates your results, which reinforces what you believe. Let's break it down. If you believe you're bad at public speaking, you'll avoid opportunities to speak. Because you avoid it, you never improve. And because you never improve, you reinforce your belief. But if you believe you can grow, you'll try. And if you try, you'll get better. And as you get better, your belief becomes stronger. It's a loop, and the only way to break it is to change the input, your belief. Step 1. Identify the beliefs holding you back. Start with awareness. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself that limits me? Where do I often say I can't, or I'm not the kind of person whose voice is really behind that belief, mine or someone else's? Write them down. See them clearly, because once you name the belief, you take away its power to hide. Step 2. Challenge the lie. Every limiting belief is built on shaky ground. So ask, is this belief 100% true? Can I find even one example where it wasn't? What would I believe if I had no fear? If your belief crumbles under these questions, good. That means you're ready to replace it. Step 3. Install new, empowering beliefs. Now it's time to engineer the belief system you want. Ask, what belief would serve me better? What would the version of me who's already successful believe? What thoughts make me feel stronger, freer, more motivated? Examples of empowering beliefs. I'm still learning, and I get better every day. I deserve to grow, succeed, and thrive. I don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Every challenge is an opportunity to expand. Repeat them, feel them, speak them aloud. You're not lying to yourself. You're reprogramming yourself. Reinforcement. Use emotion. Plus, repetition. Beliefs don't change overnight. You must train them like muscles. Use these tools. Affirmations. Repeat powerful statements with emotion. I am capable. I am enough. I am evolving. Visualization. Close your eyes. See yourself acting with the new belief. Feel it in your body. Environment. Surround yourself with people, books, and habits that reinforce the beliefs you want. Proof stacking. Each time you act with confidence or courage, acknowledge it. See, that's who I really am. Over time, the new belief becomes your default operating system. What if the old belief comes back? It might. And that's okay. Beliefs are habits, and habits try to return when you're tired, stressed, or afraid. When this happens, don't panic. Just notice the old thought and say, that's the old software. I don't run that program anymore. Then replace it with your new one. Again and again. This is mental resilience, and it's how true transformation lasts. Your brain believes what you repeatedly tell it. Here's a secret. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. So when you speak, think, and feel your new beliefs consistently, your brain begins to wire them as truth. This is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on thought and experience. So make your inner dialogue empowering, loving, and bold, because your brain is always listening. 10. You are the architect of your mind. The most successful, fulfilled people aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who've built belief systems that support their greatness, and you can too. Tear down the beliefs that say, I'm not ready, I'm not enough, that dream is too big, and replace them with, I was born for more. I'm building the skills I need. My belief is my superpower. You are not a prisoner of your past programming. You are the engineer of your own mind. And today, you've just begun a powerful redesign. Chapter 9. Action Awakens. Potential. You have now begun the profound work of reshaping your beliefs. You've glimpsed the blueprint of your mind and started to tear down limiting walls. But belief alone, no matter how powerful, is not enough. Belief is the soil. Action is the seed that sprouts and grows. Without action, potential remains dormant, like a flame waiting to be sparked, a muscle waiting to flex, a river waiting to flow. This chapter is about movement, the magic that happens when you step out of thought and into doing, because action awakens your potential. Potential is like a muscle. Potential is not some mysterious fixed treasure locked inside you. It is a living force, ready to expand, grow, and develop, just like a muscle. And muscles don't grow by wishful thinking or hope. They grow through consistent use, through stress and effort. Similarly, your potential expands only when you challenge it, when you test your limits, and when you act. Why we resist action. Here's a paradox. Most people want to unlock their potential, but they fear action. Why? Because action demands vulnerability. It means risking failure, embarrassment, or discomfort. It means moving into the unknown, where you don't have guarantees or control. So we stay stuck in, planning without doing, waiting for perfect conditions, doubting we have what it takes. This resistance is natural, but it's also the biggest barrier to growth. The action equation. Here's the simple truth that changes everything. Potential plus action. Growth potential by itself is useless. Action without potential is empty, but when you combine what's inside you with the courage to act, you spark transformation. Small actions create big changes. You don't need to leap across a canyon on your first try. In fact, starting small is one of the smartest moves you can make. Why? Because small wins build momentum. When you take a tiny step, writing one sentence, making one call, practicing one skill, you break inertia. Then, that success feeds your belief, and your belief pushes you to take the next step. A snowball starts small, but it grows fast as it rolls. Duck. How to take action. When you're scared, fear will always try to stop you. That's normal, so the question isn't, how do I get rid of fear? But, how do I move forward despite fear? Here are powerful tactics. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Worrying about the end result can freeze you. Instead, commit to doing the next right thing. Break tasks into tiny steps. If write a book feels overwhelming, write just one paragraph today. Use the 5-second rule. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move immediately. This tricks your brain into acting before doubt sets in. Celebrate imperfect action. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to start. Embrace failure as a friend. Every action will not lead to success. And that's good news. Failure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Think about it. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling faced countless rejections before Harry Potter was published. Failure shows you what doesn't work. It points you toward growth. If you avoid action out of fear of failure, you avoid growth itself. Action creates feedback. Loops. When you act, you create feedback. You learn what's working and what isn't. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. This feedback loop helps you adjust, improve, and refine your approach. Without action, you're flying blind. With action, you navigate. The compound effect of consistent action. Consistency is the secret weapon. Imagine saving $1 every day. $1 might seem small, but over time it adds up. Your actions work the same way. Taking consistent steps, even tiny ones, builds habits. Habits build skills. Skills build mastery. This is how ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. How to build an action habit. Here's how to start building unstoppable momentum. Schedule your action. Put your next step on the calendar. Treat it like a non-negotiable appointment. Remove friction. Make the action easy. If you want to write, keep your notebook or laptop ready. Accountability helps. Tell a friend or mentor about your goal. Knowing someone else is watching makes you more likely to act. Track progress. Use a journal, app, or checklist. Seeing progress motivates you to keep going. 10. The magic happens. Outside your comfort zone, your brain loves comfort and routine, but your potential grows when you push past discomfort. Every time you stretch beyond what feels easy, you rewire your brain to accept new possibilities. So don't wait until you feel ready. Be ready by acting. Real stories of action awakening. Potential. Look at history's greatest achievers. They were not perfect from the start. They stumbled, fell, and struggled, but they kept moving forward. Oprah Winfrey overcame a difficult childhood and early setbacks by taking bold steps in media. Elon Musk faced multiple business failures yet acted on his vision relentlessly. Malala Yousafzai stood up for education, despite grave danger because she acted on her belief. Their stories aren't unique because they were lucky. They're proof. That action creates opportunity, and your next step starts now. The journey from blind to potential to fully realized power depends on one key factor: what you do today, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, take one step. It doesn't matter how small. Just start moving. Because in motion, your potential wakes up. It grows, transforms, and surprises you. Closing thought. Remember, the greatest potential in the world is meaningless if it remains unactivated. Your beliefs have laid the foundation. Your courage is the spark. But your actions, those deliberate, imperfect, persistent steps, are the engine that drives your transformation. So rise, move forward, and watch your hidden potential awaken into dazzling reality. Chapter 10. Becoming who you were meant to be. Every human being carries within them a unique spark, a calling that whispers of who they are meant to become. This calling is not random or accidental. It is the essence of your true self waiting to be discovered, nurtured, and lived fully. Becoming who you were meant to be is the ultimate journey of unlocking your potential, not just for achievement or success, but for genuine fulfillment, joy, and meaning. This chapter will guide you through the steps to embrace your authentic self and live a life aligned with your highest purpose. Understanding your true self. Before you can become who you were meant to be, you must first understand who that is. Many people spend their lives shaped by outside influences, family expectations, societal norms, and cultural conditioning. They lose sight of their inner voice. Your true self is the core of your being, free from external judgments or imposed limitations. It is the part of you that knows what feels right deep in your heart, experiences joy and passion naturally, aligns with your values and purpose, expresses your unique talents and gifts. Finding this true self requires deep introspection and honesty. The mask versus the authentic self. We all wear masks, personas shaped to fit in, protect ourselves, or meet expectations. But masks are barriers that hide your potential. Becoming who you were meant to be means removing those masks and embracing your authenticity, even when it feels vulnerable. Ask yourself, what parts of myself have I hidden? Which fears or doubts have made me pretend? What would I do if I felt completely free to be myself? The power of purpose. Purpose is the compass that guides you on this journey. Without purpose, even the greatest talents can feel lost or empty. Purpose is more than a goal or a job. It's a deep sense of meaning that fuels your actions and ignites your passion. Discovering your purpose may come from asking, what impact do I want to have on the world? What problems do I feel compelled to solve? What activities make me lose track of time because I love them? Your purpose will evolve, but it always points toward becoming more fully you. Overcoming the fear of being yourself. One of the greatest fears is being rejected for who you truly are. This fear often keeps people stuck, conforming to what others expect. But true freedom lies in embracing your uniqueness. Remember, your authenticity inspires others to be themselves. The world needs what only you can offer. Pretending drains your energy and blocks your growth. Choose courage over comfort. Every time you show up as your true self, you take a step closer to becoming who you were meant to be. Aligning actions with identity. Becoming your true self isn't just a mindset, it's a lifestyle. Your daily choices, habits, and actions must reflect your authentic identity. Ask yourself, are my actions aligned with who I want to be? Do my relationships, work, and environment support my growth? What changes do I need to make to live more authentically? Consistency between identity and action builds integrity, a powerful foundation for lasting fulfillment. The role of growth and adaptation. Becoming who you were meant to be is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. You will grow, change, and evolve. Challenges, failures, and successes all shape your path. Be open to learning, adapting, and expanding your vision of yourself. Growth often happens outside comfort zones, so welcome discomfort. as a sign you're on the right track. Cultivating self-compassion. The journey to your authentic self can be difficult. You will face setbacks and moments of doubt. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness you would offer a dear friend. Remember, becoming who you are meant to be is a process, not a race. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. The influence of environment and relationships, the people and environments around you significantly impact your journey. Surround yourself with those who support your growth and authenticity. Let go of toxic relationships that hold you back. Create a physical and mental environment that nourishes your true self. Visualizing your future self. One powerful tool to become who you were meant to be is visualization. Imagine yourself fully embodying your true self, confident, fulfilled, and impactful. Picture how you speak, act, and feel. Use this vision as motivation to guide your daily actions and decisions. Your legacy, living beyond yourself. Ultimately, becoming who you were meant to be is about contribution. It's about leaving a positive mark on the world and inspiring others. Your unique journey uplifts others to awaken their own potential. Your legacy is the story you live and the impact you leave behind. Closing thoughts. You are not here by accident. Inside you is a powerful potential waiting to be realized, a purpose waiting to be fulfilled. The journey to becoming who you were meant to be is your most important adventure. It requires courage, honesty, and persistence. But the rewards are immeasurable. Living a life of authenticity, meaning, and joy. Step into your power. Embrace your true self. And become the extraordinary person you were born to be. Conclusion: you were never broken. As we come to the close of this journey, take a deep breath and let these words sink in. You were never broken. From the very beginning, you have carried within you an infinite well of potential, a light that has never dimmed. What may have felt like brokenness, fear, doubt, failure, setbacks was never a reflection of your true self. It was the weight of external pressures, old programming, and temporary challenges clouding your vision. Understanding the myth of brokenness, society often tells us that if we struggle, we are flawed or broken. That if we don't fit a certain mold, something is wrong with us. This myth is deeply harmful because it disconnects you from your true power. In reality, struggle is part of growth. It is not a sign of weakness, but a sign that you are human and that you are evolving. Your so-called brokenness is simply a signal, a call to rediscover your strength and worth. Your potential has always been whole. Potential is not something to be fixed or repaired. It is something to be recognized, awakened, and nurtured. No matter how lost you may have felt, the core of who you are has remained whole, capable, and ready. Think of a seed buried under layers of soil. It may seem hidden or trapped, but it holds everything needed to grow into a mighty tree. Your true self is that seed, full of life and possibility. Embrace your journey. The bumps, the detours, the falls, they are all part of your unique path. Each moment, even the painful ones, has taught you lessons, built resilience, and shaped your character. Instead of fighting or fearing those moments, embrace them as necessary steps that brought you here. Your story is not one of brokenness, but of transformation. Reclaim your power knowing. You were never broken means reclaiming your power. You don't need to seek validation or healing from outside sources. Your power has been inside you all along, waiting for your permission to shine. This realization changes everything. It frees you from self-judgment and opens the door to true self-love and acceptance. Your life is your message. You are a living example that potential is limitless, no matter the challenges faced. Your life, your actions, choices, and mindset is your message to the world. By embracing your wholeness, you inspire others to do the same, moving forward with confidence. As you move forward, carry this truth with you. You are whole, You are capable. You are enough. Let this be the foundation for every dream you pursue, every risk you take, and every moment you choose to be yourself. A call to action. Now is the time to live boldly, to step fully into your potential, and to honor the incredible person you are. Keep believing in yourself, keep taking action, and keep growing. Remember, the journey to becoming who you were meant to be is ongoing, and every step matters. Final thought, you were never broken, only waiting to be seen, to be loved, and to be unleashed. And now, with this truth firmly in your heart, there is nothing you cannot achieve. The world needs your light. So go forward with courage, grace, and the unshakable knowledge that your potential is limitless. And it always was.